Previously, we've learned how to solve quadratics by using square roots. However, that method doesn't always work. Quadratic formula, though, does work. So it's really important that you remember this equation. All right, that is the quadratic formula. Now, to use it, the ax squared plus bx plus c must be set equal to 0. We're going to identify our values, plug them in, and simplify. So let's take a look at the first example. All right, they've got it in standard form. They've got the x squared, the x, the constant. They have it set equal to 0. So the a is always in front of the x squared. So our a is 5. The b is always in front of the x, and the c is always the constant number. So now if I look up at the quadratic formula, I'm going to put the b in first, and it's important that we write parentheses. So the b is -3. Then looking at the quadratic formula, this is the b again. So we're going to put the b and square it. -4, this is the a. And then I have the c, which is -1. And then in the denominator, it's 2 times the a. And now we're going to just simplify. So here, this double negative, again, is going to be a negative. I'll go ahead and just put the -3 there. Then I want to see what this number is. All right, so I'm going to grab my calculator, and it's important that you type in the parenthesis. Don't type in the square root. Just type in -3 squared minus 4 times our a times our c. So I get 29. 2 times 5 is 10. And then I'm just going to clean it up a little bit. So instead of saying subtract a negative or a double negative, I'm going to say 3 plus or minus the square root of 29 over 10. And if I tried to simplify root 29, it wouldn't have any pairs of factors. All right, so looking at example 2, they've got it in standard form. It's set equal to 0, so the a is -1, the b is the 5, the c is the constant. And again, quadratic formula says this will be -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over a 2a. All right, so again, I'm going to have a negative. This is the 5. Grab your calculator. Just type in the parenthesis 5 squared minus 4 times -1 times 2, and I get 33. And 2 times -1 is -2. So final answer, we have -5 plus or minus the square root of 33 all over -2. That square root 33 does not simplify. Now what I could do is I could reduce this double negative. So that double negative right here is going to reduce to a positive. So I can say 5 plus or minus root 33 over 2. All right, let's look at another example. This one's different. They don't have it set equal to 0, so I need to move this over so that I have a 0. So we're going to say 4x squared plus 5x minus 2 equals 0. And I'm going to identify this is my a, my b, and my c. And so now you want to make sure that you put parentheses. So -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over a 2a. So again, it's -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over a 2a. All right, that simplifies to -5 plus or minus the square root. I'm going to figure out what that number is. So we're going to go parenthesis 5 squared minus 4 times -2. I get 57. and I'm going to divide that by an 8. Now I do need to ask myself about 57. Okay, I could say 3 times 19, but there's no pairs, so it does not reduce. So we get to be done with the problem. If your square root can simplify, you need to make sure you do so. All right, looking at this one, again, they don't have it set equal to 0, so I'm going to subtract the 4x squared over. I'm going to subtract the 10 over. So that, combining like terms, gives me a 5x squared, then the x term, then the constant term, equals 0. Here's my a, my b, and my c. And I'm going to substitute it into the formula. So negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over a 2a. All right, so the b is negative 4, b is negative 4, the a is 5, the c is negative 10, and again the a is 5. All right, cleaning it up, double negative is a positive. Okay, now I'm going to type in underneath my square root. I've got a negative 4 squared minus 4 times 5 times negative 10, so I get 216. And I'm going to divide that by a 10. So I need to ask myself, can a square root 216 simplify? Well, it's even, so I can say 2 and 108. 108's even, so I can say 2 and 54. 54 breaks down to 9 times 6. 9 breaks down to 3 and 3. 6 breaks down to a 3 times 2. So I do have a lot of pairs here. Not a lot, but... So I'm going to say 4 plus or minus, so I have a pair of 2's. Put the 2. I have a pair of 3's. So I'm going to bring out a 3. This 2 and 3 don't have a pair, so I'm going to multiply them back to the 6. And then I'm going to divide this by 10. And again, I'm going to clean this up. So here's a 4 plus or minus. 2 times 3 is 6. All right, here's where it might be difficult for some of you. The whole numbers can reduce. So 4/10 reduces, and so does 6/10. This reduces to 2/5. That reduces to 3/5. So 4/10, there's the 2/5. The 6/10 reduces to 3/5, and then I've got the root 6. All right, next example. Again, it doesn't have it set equal to 0, so I'm going to subtract the 2x squared over. I'm going to subtract the 4 over. So combine like terms, there's 3x squared, then the x term, then the constant. So my a is 3, my b is negative 1, and my c is negative 4. So we get x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over a 2a. All right, so the b is negative 1, the a's are 3's, and then the c is negative 4. Double negative is a positive. I'm going to grab my calculator again and say negative 1 squared minus 4 times 3 times negative 4. I get 49. And I'm going to divide that by a 6. Now the nice thing about this one is the square root of 49 is a perfect square. So I get negative 1 plus or minus the square root of 49 is 7. And then I got to divide that by 6. So one answer is going to be negative 1 plus 7 divided by 6. The other answer is going to be negative 1 minus 7 divided by 6. So negative 1 plus 7 is 6, and 6 divided by 6 is 1. Negative 1 minus 7 is negative 8. Negative 8 over 6. If you use your calculator, it's probably going to give you a decimal. I want it as a fraction. So mine's going to say negative 4/3, which is the same as negative 1 1/3. And there's my answer for that one.